Hello Scorpio, welcome to this reading. My name is Zane and we're going to be taking a look at the current energy for the sign of Scorpio for the week of June 20th. Now Scorpio, do keep in mind that this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and also check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. I do not offer personal readings and I will not send you a message on any platform, so do not get scammed. But let's go ahead and see what we have here for you, Scorpio. Let's get one shuffle in. Now I am using the Tarot Muka deck as well as the Angel and Ancestors Oracle deck. There are links to both of these decks in the description below if you'd like to purchase them for yourself. I also ask that you hit the like button and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow in a big way. All right, let's go ahead and see what we have here. Make sure we're all set up and in view. We'll get right into it. All right, put this up here. And then I'll also take 3 of these oracle cards to clarify as we go along. Scorpio, so there is a situation approaching for you here where you will have to separate the left brain and the right brain, okay? And what I mean by that is you will have to decide whether you are overthinking a situation and whether or not you can maybe tap into the intuitive side of yourself, right? And so there's a situation approaching, a better way of saying this is that there's a situation approaching where you may need to use your intuition to guide yourself through some anxiety, some sort of logical trap that you put yourself in. Really, anxiety is like a logic trap, okay? Or it's like an overthinking type of trap is what I'm kind of feeling here. And when we develop a strong intuition, we can use that to sort of allow us to move out of the overthinking, the left brain, the logic brain. We can move out of that and move into the feeling brain. And also not just the feeling brain, but also the knowing. What do I know versus what do I think? What do I know versus what do I think? And I think some of you here that's probably the best way of putting it, actually, now that I've said it 3 different times. There's something coming forward here where you're like, okay, you may be asked to look at what do I know versus what do I think. In the current the overall situation, you have the 9 of Cups. So this is an incredibly good card. 9 of Cups is the fulfillment of a wish. It's one of the major wish cards. It says that something is going right in your life. All of these cups here, although you can't really tell by this spilled cup, these cups here are presumably overflowing. Things are going well in this person's life. And you can see by their expression that they are content in their current situation. This represents a dream that they have fulfilled and a wish that they have filled in their life. And so it's a card of pleasures, like enjoying some pleasures in life and luxuries in life, and just kind of allowing yourself to sort of stay in a sort of happy period of time for yourself. Now, in the past, you have the 10 of Swords and the 7 of Cups. So the 10 of Swords is really an ending. You can see that this is a bit of a painful, challenging ending here, okay? The 10 of Swords does say that something is completely done. It does say that something is completely over with, okay? However, it does suggest that while one cycle is completing, another cycle will begin, okay? 10s in tarots always represent completions. And really with the 10 of Swords, it's important. It's really just about how you view the world. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty type of person? And if you're a more positive person, then you'll recognize that this ending really just means that there's new hope on the horizon after potentially you having gone through something challenging. Also, as this 10 of Swords is in the previous position, this suggests that potentially the worst is behind you. Okay, you have the 7 of Cups with it, which means that there's been some confusing and overwhelming feelings here in the past for you. I get the sense of, I do get an overwhelming feeling. What is that song that's coming into my mind? Sometimes I get a good feeling. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling is the song that's coming into my mind. I'm forgetting who sings that song. I get a good feeling. I think that there's been overwhelming feelings here in the past, and I think in the present, you're getting a good feeling. Okay, so it doesn't matter who sang that song or whatever the exact lyric is. What I am for sure of and certain of, based on this reading, is that the feeling side of yourself is extremely important in this week. You will probably want to use your feelers more than your logical mind, okay? It's important to balance the left and the right brain out, but sometimes we stick on our feeling side, and sometimes we need to move into our logic side. For you, this is about feeling your way through something in this week. That's going to help you so much. In the future, you have the High Priestess and the Nine of Swords. So this is where, I'm getting this sort of hypothesis for you here. The High Priestess is the most intuitive card in the tarot. Intuition is what you know. It's what you feel, okay? And this is somebody who is sort of not necessarily finding the answers from the outside world, but rather finding the answers from the inside world. You being a way shower for yourself here is what I feel like is important for you, and using your feelings to show you the way. Then the swords suit, you have the Nine of Swords here. Of course, we've talked about the Ten of Swords in the past. And, if I'm just putting this down here, back to the original placement, you have these swords on the end caps, right? And so it's like in the past and in the future, you've had this situation that was more about logic. And in the middle, you have the cups cards and the High Priestess, which cups are more related to intuition and feelings than swords, the logic. And so putting this all together, it's like there is you connecting with what you know and connecting with what you feel to work through some type of anxiety here with the Nine of Swords about what is next. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this might be around. So you have the Chariot, you have the Five of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Swords, and you have the Nine of Wands. Okay, so for some of you, this is fear of losing something, okay? What I feel like saying is all is not lost. It came into my mind as soon as I said that. There's a fear of losing something. It's possible that in the past you've been dealt a blow, if you want to put it that way. There's been a blow that has been dealt to you here in the past with this Ten of Swords and the Seven of Cups that has left you feeling confused about yourself, about your path, about your road, something along those lines. Okay, in going through those painful situations, you're now also being dealt this Five of Pentacles card, which is feeling less than. And again, I think that there's something around your feelings here that is very, 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 very important to trust, okay? And obviously, I'm not telling you to continue feeling like you're less than. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you to trust what you feel in a more positive direction is what I feel like saying, okay? I'm saying feel a lot, but it's so important in this reading. And recognize the power of your feelings. If you feel like you're less than, or if you feel unworthy, those attributes are more likely to exist. If you feel like you are abundant, if you feel like there's an unlimited amount of opportunity, which there is, then those attributes or those opportunities are much more likely to happen. So hopefully you understand what I'm getting at here. You have the Chariot card in the past as well, which is a major card of progression, moving forward, overcoming obstacles. Despite there being some pain in the past, despite you having dealt a blow in the past, you have continued, you've got yourself back up, you've got on your horse or your chariot, and you've kept riding forward. Despite the pain, despite the challenge, despite the obstacle that's been in your way, you've continued forward. Trust what you feel in a positive direction. You have the Ace of Swords as well. The Ace of Swords is a new beginning. It's a breakthrough. It's divine insight, divine communication. It's like bang, the right opportunity, the right message, the right way of acting, the right way of not acting, the right way of the right direction kind of coming out of nowhere, and or just sort of spontaneously happening. It's also good communication. You have the Nine of Wands as well, which is your ability to persevere and stick forward and stick to something that you know that you need to stick up for yourself on or around. You have double nines and you had this 10 in the past. It's almost like something's coming back in for review. It's maybe like you're getting a test, like there's a second test coming in here. And I definitely feel like this could be important. And this test will not be passed with logic. This test will be passed with feeling. This test will be passed with feeling. Okay, let's take a look at what these 3 oracle cards are. So you have the High Priest, intend and create. You have Stag, trust and thrive. And you have Eagle, see from a higher perspective. Time to zoom out, Scorpio. It's time to zoom out. Okay, I almost feel you being weighed down by being overly logical. There's something about your logic mind here that is weighing you down. There are some things that, there are some things, how do I say this? So it's like we can't solve for X for all things in life, okay? That, like, we can't create an equation for all things in life. Some things in life, the equation to whatever problem you're trying to solve has not been formulated yet. Do you understand? And so it's like for you, it's coming up with your own equation. And this equation is the equation of feeling. Okay, and for you, it's like really zooming out and perching in onto your life and trying to see from this higher perspective, like the eagle. And as you do that, trusting that you will get the answers along the way, feeling the answers along the way. Let's see what else we have here. You have the Eight of Wands. You have the Knight of Swords. And you have the Ten of Wands. So we have these double tens and these double nines, 10 of swords in the past, 10 of wands, and then we have these 9 of wands, 9 of swords. So isn't that interesting? Both in the same suit, wands and swords. Wands is more about inspiration and intuition, like the cups. Cups and wands are very close in terms of can be related to like energy and intuition and all of those sorts of things, while the swords is more about logic. Okay, so this is heavy for you here at this time. And my intuition was right when I told you, you can't solve for X for everything. Not everything can be made into an equation. And the reason being is because you have this 10 of wands, which this is the burden of logic. This is the burden of being overly logical. Listen, I'm an air sign. I have mostly air in my chart, but I can't always take a logical approach to something. Like, I love logic, but I can't always do that. I'm just telling you personally. And I feel like, take it from me in this reading, sometimes you have to go into your feels. You have to go into your feels. And you, as a water sign Scorpio, know all about that. And I would really maybe trust that at this time. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's because this message needs to be said here for Scorpios at this time. You have this 8 of wands in the past. Something happened quickly, okay? It could mean that, something has just pushed forward here. You have this chariot with it. Of course, that's big movement with the chariot and the 8 of wands. Of course, there was this situation that was, that you've been dealt a blow that was confusing here in the past. But I do think that through all of that, you've continued to accelerate. You've continued to move forward. Knight of Swords, again, more movement. With the Knight of Swords, that's a quick situation happening. That's a swift situation happening. It can also talk about needing to take action on something. And so you'll know when the time is right and you will strike while the iron is hot, is what I feel like saying. You have Judgment, which you cannot make this up, and you have the 4 of Pentacles. Here's the thing. This is wild because the Judgment card is about logic. The Judgment card is about logic, and it's coming in the past. I have talked about this entire reading. So the Judgment card asked you to take a look at it. The Judgment card asked you to move into your logic mind, put everything on the table, and just like kind of like analyze everything that you put on the table and sort of take a logical approach to what you need to do in order to get to the world, which is the next card after the Judgment card. However, this is in the past. This is not the way forward for you at this time. Doesn't mean that you won't be using logic in the future, but right now, that is in the past. That moment has passed. And now there's a new kind of approach to solving problems here in the future. You have this Four of Pentacles as well, which is about your stability, it's about your structure, it's about maybe fear of loss as well, certainly because you have this Five of Pentacles and it's actually in a diagonal formation here. And so sometimes, you know, we have to take one of these pentacles, invest that, and see it grow into something else. Not investment advice, not financial advice, but this person's afraid of losing even one pentacle, which is why they're touching all four of their pentacles, because they're afraid of even losing one. And at the top of the pyramid, I felt like this was coming. You have the World. I felt like this was coming. The Judgment, number 20 into number 21, the World. So look, you are completing the cycle here. The thing is, you're doing it by moving into your feelings. And that's how you're getting to the top of the World. The World at the top of the pyramid in this pyramid spread for me is a major sign of success. It's a major sign of certainty and completion in your world. So it's incredible, and you are definitely zooming out. You're seeing from a higher perspective, and you're figuring out what it is that you need to do to get to the top of the world. And on the bottom, 19, 20, 21. This situation is progressing forward. There's no need to know the answer right away. You'll know when the time is right, and you'll know when the progression happens. It will just happen. The sun is a major energy of happiness, victory, and positivity. This is an incredible reading. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe. Really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next reading.